So now let's talk about the main Hungarian minor chord that you'll meet in action music. So let's say you're in C Hungarian minor like this. You can make from that scale a minor major 7 chord, as we said, which is a common hexatonic chord. You can make the minor add sharp 4, which is a common octatonic chord. So just to play you those again, they sound like this: minor major 7 and minor add sharp 4. Well, if you add those together, then what you get is the minor major 7 add sharp 4. Makes sense, right? Which is a common Hungarian minor chord. And this is the main chord that you'll meet in Hungarian minor action passages. So it sounds like this. All right, so now that we've talked about how to combine octatonic and Hungarian minor scales, let's see how they can be combined in a new composition. So as usual, I've given you my materials here at the top, and as you can see, I've got an octatonic there and 2 Hungarian minors. I'll get into that in a minute. Now, when I get to E flat Hungarian minor, I'm going to use a very similar chord over here. And this is actually the main chord of Hungarian minor scales, this minor major 7 add sharp 4. And the idea in linking together 2 Hungarian minor scales is simply to give you more options for a longer span of music, so it doesn't get tired with the same kinds of harmonies and melodies that you can make. Okay, but just so you can hear these chords, I'm going to play them for you. First, the one on F, and then the one on E flat. So here we go. Now, what else do we need here? We need a couple more bars. If we're going to extend this further, here's what I'm going to do. So now I've got this minor major 7 add sharp 4 chord, at least it's going to be, for this last couple of bars here. And this time it is in root position. So the E flat is down here. Again, doubled at the octave for a bass sound. Now, what about that other dissonance? This D isn't in this chord. Basically, I've got the E flat minor chord in the top 3 notes and the add sharp 4 as the A natural. And I'm just kind of bouncing back and forth between different positions of that chord. So sounding like this. Okay, just to get some harmonic interest and something like the kind of neighbor note melody I was having over here that came from the beginning. So trying to keep these ideas going throughout the cue. All right, now one last thing I need is, again, something melodic here to move it forward. So what am I going to do there? Well, let's again use a 0-1-4, but how about another one? So this guy here. So there's the D natural we needed that was part of this chord here. So it comes in the melody. All right, and the 0-1-4 is over here. So D, G flat, F. Okay, so that's the 0-1-4 I need for this part here. So everything is well behaved and staying in the scale that it's supposed to be in. I'm not using any sort of cheat notes or notes outside the scale. All right, so this is how you can make a cue that stays within the scales. Now, just before I play this for you, I would like to shape this a little more with the articulations and dynamics. Now, I don't want to take you through all of that process, but just to show you what I've done. So let's do that here, like that. Okay, so now you'll see that everything has a staccato dot over it, and sometimes a staccatissimo. It just sounds better that way. I've shaped the dynamics so that this is a bigger moment. Okay, so let's now see what this all sounds like. All right, so combining scales together gives you a vast palette from which to draw for your action writing. But as you can see, you can still make connections between them and make it sound very unified. But the great thing is that each scale has its own strengths and weaknesses, and they sort of play off one another. So it can make a really interesting action cue.